welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy because I just want to say thank you guys so much. We finally hit 4,000 subscribers, and I want to let you guys know that when I do hit 5,000, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. So I'll do a video on the details about that later, but I just want to let you guys know there will be a giveaway when we hit 5,000. But up until then, thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you for subscribing and viewing and commenting and doing all that sort of stuff. And let's get on with the actual video. Hello everyone, just before we start, I just wanted to say that remember that these commentaries when I'm talking are how I'm thinking. It changes, it fluctuates, sometimes it's what I should be thinking, sometimes it's not, and we'll make mistakes, so let's get past that. Okay, so I have a commentary today. Now a bunch of you asked me on Instagram and you say I have trouble getting my horse to accept the bit or to go round and all that, and I thought I would put this problem kind of in this video today because she actually has a really nice frame when she goes into it, but she can get quite resistant. So I thought it would be good for me to show you how I try and encourage them to go into the frame. So what you're noticing is, first thing, number one rule, I need to have a soft hand. I can't be aggressive. I can't jam her down into a frame, and I can't force her there, because immediately when I force her there, you can see there she's like So immediately when I force her there, it becomes a claustrophobic area and she doesn't want to go there anyways. So how do I actually ask for her to get into a frame? I'm keeping a constant pressure on my outside rein, but at the same time, it's not overly constant because I'm trying to be super soft, because she's getting, because she is tossing her head, I'm trying to be really gentle and soft, but when I am asking for it, I try and keep somewhat of a consistency on the outside rein. I like to put my inside leg on, and I try and, there we got the frame, and I try and catch the energy into my outside rein. So I'll push my inside leg on, catch the energy with my outside rein, and I kind of fiddle with my reins. So I'll apply a bit of pressure on the inside hand, a bit of pressure on the outside hand, etc, etc, and I'll keep doing it, and it's kind of just wiggling the bit around, and hopefully they start to lean on it. Now, what is very important too is you'll see we get it for a few strides and then we lose it. That's completely fine. When you're trying to encourage it, it's okay. The biggest thing is make sure you give heaps of reward for when they do actually do what you ask. So you can see here, there we have that, and you can experiment too, you know, is it easier in sitting trot, is it easier in rising trot? And you can experiment with kind of your seat and see if that maybe affects your horse. But you can see I'm just playing with that inside hand, and I'm squeezing with my inside leg and trying to catch the energy in my outside rein. And when she puts her head up, I don't try and, there we go. Now, like I was saying too, you know, this isn't, I'm not talking like serious dressage or anything. This is just how do I get my horse to accept it and like, how do I encourage it? That's what I'm trying to teach you guys. So you can see here, she's got her head in the air. She's not happy. She's chucking every time I ask for a little bit more. And I don't get aggressive when she's not giving me what I want. I just keep asking for the same thing. And as soon as she gives it to me, I stop bugging her, because I want to make doing the wrong thing harder for her and doing the right thing easy. So as soon as she gets into that frame, I leave her head alone. And usually she stays there. After a few strides, she'll lose it. So I ask again. But the idea is you don't want to make going into a frame claustrophobic or a forced thing. So if you, especially with a horse who gets very resistant, you don't want to jam their heads down. So when they have their head in the air, that's fine. Just keep asking how you usually ask. And when they come into that frame, think, okay, that's great. Now I'm going to leave them alone. Now I'm going to give her a good pat. Now I'm going to say, good girl. So you can see there she's starting to get that, and I think the first part of getting a frame for a horse who gets quite high above the bit is just getting any essence of stretch. If I feel any weight driving onto the bit, I immediately reward her for it because she's keeping her head in the air. If I get any weight or any indication that she's putting a little bit of pressure onto the bit and moving down into the contact, that's fantastic and I'll reward her for it. it's important too as well, you know, I was trying to be very conscious of this, but if you're going to do sitting trot and you're going to ask for something different, then make sure that your sitting trot isn't interfering with what you're asking with her head. So ensure that you're not bouncing up and down. So I think you'll notice too, every time that I felt like I was getting very out of rhythm, I went straight back up to rising trot, because I didn't want me slapping on her back to partake in her throwing her head or in her not wanting to go into the contact. And it's just repetition. It's just ask. When you get the right thing, you reward them and you leave them alone. But yes, I'm just fiddling with both hands, squeezing. It's a bit like, you know, when you get those stress balls, if you kind of analyze it like that. If you have stress balls in your hands, pretend that the reins are the stress balls, and you just squeeze one, squeeze the other, squeeze one, squeeze the other, squeeze one, squeeze the other. And you can see there with my hands, as soon as she got that frame, I left her alone. I didn't touch her. It's really important too that if you're going to ask for a frame, your horse needs to be traveling forward. Your horse needs to be in front of the leg and should be going when you tell them to. Yes, that can get difficult sometimes, but especially when you're teaching it, it makes it so much easier to encourage it when they're going forward. They'll find it much easier. You'll find it easier because you won't have to concentrate on pushing them the whole time. A big thing too, because Cash was getting a bit, you know, she needs a soft hand. She needs soft hands and a soft rider. So that was really nice there. So what I'm trying to establish is whenever I want a downwards transition, I'm trying to train that my seat gives the downward transition with very minimal participation from my reins. So you can see there we've got a bit of a head throw, so I just kept asking, and then when we got it, I left her alone. You can see my hands stop moving. But it's important to, you know, if you're going to ask for a downward transition with a horse who gets quite resistant, try and use your seat. So what I did was I actually left my hands forward. I didn't try and pull on them to make her slow down. I just tried to apply a really deep seat. So I'd try and slow my rising trot. I'd try and push my sitting trot. Weighten my sitting trot, and hopefully that would get a downward transition. And now she's traveling quite nicely. You still get the occasional head throw, but she's going into it much more with ease, and it's all with a soft hand. So don't get aggressive, don't jam them down to it, because immediately when you jam them down, that just ruins everything. And I just wanted to say to you guys, remember, this video wasn't me showing you how to get a horse round or how to get a horse on the bit. This is me showing you how you can encourage it and how you can kind of introduce it. So I'm not saying this is the definite way, but this is how I like to introduce it.